So, tonight, I'm afraid it's gonna be another one of those more nerdy videos where I talk about my hobbies or passions. And tonight, I'd like to talk to you and show you some of my horror Blu-rays. If you've seen a few of my other videos, you probably know at this point that I love physical media. I just think it's the coolest thing in the world to own your favorite movies, and I love the inconvenience of it, like getting the film, acquiring it, putting the disc in, pressing all the buttons to load the film, I think is genuinely really nice. So, I'm lucky enough really to have been born in a time where physical media was still pretty mainstream, and it kind of makes me sad that we've kind of moved away from physical media. I think a lot of newer generations and younger people won't know the enjoyment of owning your favorite music or films or really video games, anything really physical media related. They won't know the joy of owning that, and that's not their fault, obviously, that they were born in a time where we've moved towards streaming and owning less. But hopefully with videos like this, it can inspire people to pick up their favorite films. A collection could just be one or two films. It doesn't have to be hundreds or thousands. You could have a very curated, small collection that brings you joy, and that's what I like about collecting things in general, is just looking at these things that you have and own and, get use out of. So yeah, if you're a fan of physical media as well, hopefully you'll enjoy, looking through some of my films. I haven't actually been picking up a lot of films lately, but I've been getting that bug again. I've been wanting to get back into it and collecting more. And I think one of the things that I've learned with collecting is kind of coming to terms with the fact that you're not going to get to own everything that you want. I have a lot of favourite films, I have a lot of favourite media that some of it is out of print, some of it never had a UK release, some may not have ever had a physical release in general, so you kind of just have to make peace with the fact that you're not going to own everything you want. But the way I see it now is I'm grateful for just what I have. If my collection is small or large, I'm just happy to have what I have. And I think that's kind of an important thing to learn when collecting anything, is don't let that part of your brain take over that makes you want to just keep spending money on everything. You kind of just have to calm yourself down a bit and just say, well, if I can't own it, I can't own it. Not really much you can do, unfortunately, unless you are very wealthy. So, I'm going to talk to you about some movies now. And the first one actually isn't really much of a horror film. I guess it's kind of got themes of horror. And it is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So this is 35 years of absolute pleasure. A lot of people will say this film doesn't have any plot, and all this and that, but I think that kind of just shows how great this movie is. The fact that it might not have a plot, but it still is a classic film that brings so much joy and happiness to a lot of people. And I think that's, really says a lot about this movie. That, it doesn't need this pretty integral part that a lot of movies and media in general rely on. It can still be fun, and I think as long as your vision is good, and you can stay true to that vision, you might not always need these things to make something worth watching and enjoying and stuff. So that's the first movie. Again, not really much of a horror film, but my Blu-ray horror collection is pretty small, which hopefully I'll be able to fix as time goes on and pick up more horror movies, because this is one of my favourite genres of film. This is, if you've been here before, if you've seen my other videos where I talk about films, this film is my all-time favourite movie, and that will never change. That is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So, a story about not being able to own a movie that you really love is this Cassandra Peterson, who plays Elvira, actually has 2 movies, which I don't think a lot of people know about. Her second film is called Elvira's Haunted Hills. It's a very fun film. I don't like it as much as I like this one, but it's still one that I would love to own a copy of, and it never had a UK release. I think it had a US release, and I think it had a German release, but it never had a UK release. And the DVD was pretty pricey, and I think it was because it was out of print and there was no Blu-ray, so a lot of people who had the DVD were kind of, I guess, trying to capitalize on the rarity of the physical format of the film, the physical version of the film. So I kind of made peace with the fact, like, okay, this is going to be another one of those films that I love. I'm never going to be able to own it, and that's okay. But recently, it did get a re-release. It got a UK release, I should say. So that makes me very happy. It's a film I'm definitely going to pick up at some point. And that's all because I love Elvira. I think she's very funny. I think this film itself is very funny. Just about Elvira, who wants to fund her New Vegas show, her Las Vegas show, but she doesn't have enough money, and then all of a sudden, a family relative of hers that she's never met and she didn't even know she had passes away and leaves Elvira everything. Leaves her a house, her a mansion, and all these things, and Elvira has to go to this very quaint, small, conservative town in America, and that's where I think a lot of the fun is, right? You know, you got these people who are very, I guess the word might be puritanical, very like Christian conservative people, and then you have Elvira, who is, you know, a very out there kind of person, and I think it just makes the film very fun. This is a great film. It is my favourite movie of all time. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it because I've lost count, but if you've never seen this film, please watch it, okay? This is a really, really great movie. Again, pretty light on the horror, but I mean, she's a horror hostess. She's the queen of Halloween, so I feel like it fits. So this is a movie I picked up actually a couple days ago when I was out shopping, and I was going through some charity shops just to see what they had. And that is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, I have seen The Conjuring 1 and 2, I think this is the third film, and I like those two. I like the second one more than I like the first one. This film I thought was okay. I think it's definitely the weakest out of the three, and I think there is a fourth one on the way. Now, I've seen pretty much every film in the Conjuring universe, so like Annabelle and The Nun. I haven't seen the second Nun film, but I've seen a lot of the Conjuring universe films and stuff, and I like them. I think they're fun horror films. Some are definitely better than others, but yeah, I think this one's fine. It's just relies a little too much on like jump scares and loud jump scares, and I think you can definitely do that well, but sometimes it gives a bit of a cheap feeling, you know. But it's a movie I own, so It's in my collection. I'll definitely try and pick up the other Conjuring universe films and add them to my collection at some point. This is... It's hard to say if this is my favourite horror franchise, because there is another one that I'll get to, but this could be joint favourite franchise. That is Chucky. I love Chucky. He gave me nightmares as a child. Not because I watched the film as a kid, it's just because I saw Chucky on a poster. And that image stuck with me. And I think it was the poster that said, "Sorry Jack, Chucky's back." And I was like, oh my god, that's my name, he's coming for me. And that was, it gave me nightmares. But as an adult, I can't get enough of Chucky. I love this franchise. In my opinion, and it's probably a controversial opinion, I don't think there is a single bad Chucky film. And I really liked the TV show as well. I loved all 3 seasons. I'm very sad it got discontinued. But I heard Don Mancini's working on an 8th film. So I hope he continues the story of the TV show. But yeah, this is a 7-film collection. Child's Play 1, 2 and 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky. And I love all of them. The 3rd Child's Play film probably is my least favourite, but I still really like it. Chucky, great movies if you've never seen them. We got another classic up next. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is obviously like a legendary horror film that has inspired countless films, and it's from the 70s, I believe. This film was actually, funnily enough, banned in the UK up until the year 2000, and even then it was only released on like VHS. Not necessarily because it was a very bloody, violent film. I think it was just the vibes of this film. You know, it had a very daunting, very menacing, evil feel to it, which is I think one of the reasons why it was banned here. Obviously, it was violent for the time, but yeah, it's funny watching this movie now. You know, it's one of those films where I don't feel scared watching it, but I still really think it's such a fun movie. So, great film if you've never seen it. I've said that a lot, and I'm probably gonna say it a lot as well, but I think horror is a really fun genre, and I really would like more people to get into it. I think it's very, very fun. Definitely fun watching with people, especially if you know all the horror films and you know all the scares. That's always pretty funny in my opinion. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Following that up, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. A lot of people didn't like this film. I really did. I have quite a few more films, so I'm going to go through them a bit quicker. I know this was a comedy, more of a comedy than a horror movie, but I really like it. I think it's a really fun film. Another classic, John Carpenter's Halloween. Michael Myers might be my favourite horror slasher killer, character. I think he has the creepiest feel to him. Like, when I look at Chucky, I don't feel scared. When I look at, Freddy, I don't feel scared. When I look at Jason, I don't feel scared. But Michael always gave off such a scary feel. It's just that mask. And I actually own a mask from the film. Well, not the actual film, but it's a replica. And it's on a shelf over there. You can't see it, but sometimes I forget I have it, and I wake up in the middle of the night and I see a white mask staring down at me, and it does give me a bit of a fright every once in a while. But yeah, I love Halloween, fun horror film. And then we got the 2018 reboot, and I liked this. I liked it. I thought it was a good reboot. I like Halloween Kills. I'm not big on Halloween Ends. I thought it was okay, but I didn't really like it all that much. But Halloween 2018, I liked. Thought it was a good reboot. I was worried that it was going to be terrible, but thankfully it's quite good. Scream. Okay. Now, Scream would have been my favourite franchise if it wasn't for the third film, because I really don't like the third Scream film, and I think the franchise in general left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth for how they treated Melissa Barrera and firing her, which was just really stupid. But judging the films that I own, I still like the original Scream films, except for the third one. But Scream, it's great. It's one of those movies where, even though I know who the killers are and I know what happens and I know the twists, I still love it. Sometimes I have a hard time rewatching murder mystery kind of films like Clue. I love Clue, but once you learn who the killer is, I feel like rewatches can sometimes be very hit or miss. But there's Scream films I could rewatch a bunch of times, fully knowing who the killers are, but just enjoying the story. Yeah, I love Scream. And Scream 2, which I think is just as good as the first one. I loved the in-universe joke of they have a Scream movie series, but in the actual Scream universe. I think it was called Stab, if I remember correctly. And I thought that was really funny. And I think this is genuinely a very good sequel. Usually horror sequels can usually, most of the time aren't great, but I think Scream 2 did a really good job. So, Scream 2. Not going to talk about this one too much, because like I said, I don't really like Scream 3. I just can't put my finger on it, but just felt like it got a bit too silly at times. So that's my opinion on it, but it's been a while since I watched this film. Maybe if I rewatch it, I'll feel differently. Who knows? Do want to watch a lot of these films come October time, against the Halloween feel. Now, time for a controversial opinion. Scream 4 is my favourite Scream film. I love Scream 4. I don't know why it's my favourite. I think the part of me thinks it could have been more of a recency bias, because this was, when I was getting into horror, this was the newest Scream film. So, could have been recency bias, but when I rewatch it, I have so much fun. I really like this movie. It's my favourite out of all of the Scream films. Now this is the franchise that I was talking about, how it could be like a rival with Chucky, and they're kind of both my favourite, and that is Friday the 13th. So this is the 8-film collection, and I'm so glad I own this on Blu-ray, because I bought this at Chalkies. So Chalkies is like a British physical media shop. I bought it from their online store because they have free shipping if you're in the UK, and I bought it at Chalkies, and it was £15, and I don't know if Chalkies still have it for £15, but when I look at this everywhere else, like on eBay or HMV or really any other place that sells physical media, this is usually around £30 to £40 now. Even second hand, they're £30 on eBay. Sometimes you can find them cheaper, but it's just weird how so many of these just suddenly come up and they're like really expensive. I don't think anyone's buying them for that price, because like I said, sometimes they do come up for like £15 or less than 20. But it's just weird that sometimes, because I don't even think this is like out of print. I think they're still making this. I might be wrong, but it's just weird how it suddenly like it keeps jumping up and down, and it's just nice that I have it and I don't have to worry about trying to find it for a good price. Because I love Jason Voorhees and I love Friday the 13th. This is definitely going to be marathoned come Halloween time. In my opinion, these are the most fun horror films to binge watch. Super fun. I love watching Friday the 13th, especially like introducing people to the franchise. I love these films. I don't love Jason Goes to Hell. Thankfully I don't own it, I never will. Horrible movie. I like Jason X though, and Freddy vs. Jason is also really good. And the remake was fine in my opinion. And finally, I have The Nightmare on Elm Street, or A Nightmare on Elm Street. I always call it The Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't know why. So this is a franchise that, kind of like Halloween, I have a love-hate relationship with. So Halloween, I love the first film, I like the second one a lot. All the others I don't really care for. I don't mind H2O, and I kind of like Resurrection because of how bad it is. It's kind of like one of those films that's so bad it's good. I think Halloween 4 has Paul Rudd in it, but I don't think he's good enough to save the film for me. I think he was in 4, or it could have been 6. He could have been in the 6th film. It was the one where it was the last film that had Donald Pleasance in it. I can't remember. It's been a few years since I watched it. But this franchise is the same. There are some films in this that I love, some that I really don't like. Like, I love A Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, great film, amazing film. But Freddy's Revenge, which is the second film, really don't like, really don't care for that film. And then I love Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors is great. And I love The Dream Master as well. I like the fourth film, The Dream Master. And then you have Nightmare 5, The Dream Child, which I don't like. Then you have The Final Nightmare, which I also really didn't like. And then you had Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which I did like. So, a lot of likes and dislikes in this franchise. But Robert Englund, who plays Freddy, is one of the most iconic horror icons, and Robert Englund is an amazing actor. I've never seen the remake or the reboot. I don't really think I want to, so probably won't ever see that one, but who knows. Yeah, that's the last in my horror Blu-ray collection. Pretty small collection, but hopefully it'll grow in time. I have a lot of horror DVDs, and a lot of them I'm in the process of trying to upgrade to Blu-ray, but we'll see if I ever get around to that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed me, kind of rambling your ear off about physical media and horror movies. But I love making these kind of videos. I love sharing my passions and hobbies with people, and maybe inspiring them to get into it as well. But it's fine if you don't want to. Yeah, really hope you enjoyed this video.